Hey everybody, Pastor Vern for, let's see, where we at? February 4th, 2020. It's a Thursday. Um, as we get back into doing some of our daily updates after a few days when they just didn't work out to get them ready for you. Um, we've been talking about Jewish traditions here in the last few days, or the Jewish life in the time of some in the Old Testament, some in the time of Jesus. We've talked about the Wailing Wall. We've talked about different kinds of educational opportunities that they had. We've talked about what else? We talked about instruments, not having instruments in the temple or the synagogue, and those kind of things. And we've talked about a few other more peculiar ones maybe 2 weeks ago. And today we're talking about there's a expression in the Jewish tradition called 5/5. Now, 5/5 is what? Whole, right? 5/5 would be a complete set. A little math here. You've got those 5/5 make one thing that is in a completeness. Okay. Now, what is 5/5 referred to in the Jewish tradition? Well, 5/5 refers to the first five books of the Old Testament, known as the Torah. Now, the Torah was maybe the most important part of the scriptures. Well, not maybe, it is the most important part of the scriptures in the Jewish tradition. It's Genesis through Deuteronomy. It tells about the history of God and his people from creation up and through centuries of interaction with God. It kind of gets up to a point where God is not quite as vocal as he was for a while. We talked about that maybe in a sermon last week or 2 weeks ago about when Jesus came. It had been a quiet period with God. And so God's silence was kind of broken. God did this from time to time, kind of went silent on his people. And we don't know, we don't know what in God's wisdom that meant. But anyway, these 5/5, this Torah, it is the law incomplete. So those are the books of the law. And in their tradition, the 5/5 of the law is considered wholeness and complete. Is that what comes after that in the scriptures is historical record, and then we come to the prophets. And we come to the prophets, and they allude to the coming of Christ and God's relationship with these people at their time, because a lot of this was done as warnings to their people to change their ways. We see that especially with the minor prophets. We see Joel and Amos and some of them folks who were given a task to tell people that they need to turn away from their earthly ways and turn back to the ways of God. And so it's not that those books are not important. They are. They're an important part of the tradition, and they're an important part of the prophecy that moves forward. But these first five books, the Torah, the law, is what was so much of their life is based on, so much of their lifestyle. If you look at these books in the books of the law that Moses shared with them, that God inspired into his hand, there's a lot of things about their health, about their nation, about how they, as God's chosen people, have the opportunity that God has given them an advantage, I guess you would say. God talks a lot about healthy diets. He talks about sanitation. He talks about how to work and live in community. All these things that the rest of the world seemed to have to develop in a little slower pace than the Hebrew people because of the Word of God. It's an interesting historical look if you want to take some time to do that, to see the historical factors that are in the books of the law not just the creation, not just the fall from grace, not just Noah's story, not just those stories that we base God's first relations on, but how the law was intended, in most cases, to enhance the life of the Jewish people in a way that they would help them to prosper and be healthy and to be in relationship with God. All right. Well, that's good for today. Y'all take good care of yourselves. Watch out for others the best you can and stay safe. We'll talk to you later.